Welcome to Shockingly Cultured, the podcast where we explore culture shock, belonging, challenges, and the growth that comes from moving to a new place. I'm Matthew Grieve,
And I'm Vasu Ravichandran.
your two hosts for the evening.
So, this episode, we'll be talking to international students and we'll be exploring how a person can feel like a fish out of water when traveling to a new location and how they manage to adapt. So, what is culture shock? I think the word shock is a bit intense if you were to define it by those words. Cultural differences can come in different ways, and that just makes you think that there's more ways to live and more ways to be. You know, new environments can shock us, but it can also refresh us. And it can happen in the same country. If you move across provinces or across the landscape between urban and rural, or even if you find yourself in an unfamiliar work culture in the same town. So, Matthew, tell me about your story, man.
Well, I'm from the province of Quebec. I grew up in my hometown of Sherbrooke, with the Quebec culture. I moved to the Ontario region back in January 2025, and I've been here for the past 9 months.
So, what were your first impressions of Ontario?
I thought my first impression was not the best because I went to go have a poutine here in Ontario. And Quebec, it's known for their poutine and all that. And I didn't think the poutine in Ontario lived up to the expectations of a Quebecois poutine. It paled in comparison, honestly. What about you, Vasu?
I've never had the poutine from the motherland of poutine, but I want to try that now. Anyways, I'm from the southernmost part of India, and I moved to Canada almost 15 years ago. My first impressions of Canada, okay. So you know what? The first few weeks, I found it hard to fall asleep because it was so quiet at night. And in India, you hear sounds of dogs barking, crows, monkeys or something, some kind of background sound at night. So I know it sounds weird, but I found it hard to fall asleep when it was so quiet. And also another thing I remember noticing about Canada when I was new was that everything is so ordered and regulated here. Like there's an agency or a regulatory body for everything. There's no bureaucracy, Like if I needed some kind of government services, like applying for permanent residency or citizenship, it was all such a smooth process, and they always kept me in the loop. And I didn't need to bribe anyone to get things done on time. So everything was so regulated. I thought even the animals followed the rules. Like there's no bugs in the house. You leave a jar of sugar open, no ants coming to eat it. I mean, maybe that was just me, but all the places I've lived, there's almost no bugs in the house. And maybe that's because the house is sealed in the winter. So I don't know.
Well, so I've been here for a short time, but for you, as an Indian who's been here for approximately 15 years, does anything still shock you or surprise you?
Yeah, there's one thing I'm still not completely used to. It's a little hard to explain. It's like when I watch the news, it's like what constitutes a scandal or a political controversy, from people in power. I remember when Justin Trudeau wore that festive Indian outfit for his trip to India, and everyone was saying, it's inappropriate, he's making a fool of himself, and it was controversial, maybe almost a scandal of some sort. And I thought, you know what? Politics is boring, bro. I like that he spiced it up, For me, I'll tell you what a scandal is. If a politician uses taxpayers' dollars to buy his 17-year-old son a sports car, and then the son crashes the sports car, kills someone, and then the dad bribes the judge to let the son go free, that's a scandal. And those were the standards that I was used to. But obviously, don't get me wrong, it's better this way in Canada, that people hold government officials responsible and accountable for everything. But I just thought Justin Trudeau wearing Indian outfits, I loved it.
Well, that truly is a scandal, Vasu. We are joined here today in the studio by a special guest speaker.
So, hello everyone. My name is Sanjeev Raghubar. I'm from Mauritius. I know so many people will not know Mauritius. It's an island east side of Africa. It's in the Indian Ocean.
So, Sanji, can you tell us about your move? How was it moving here to Ottawa?
So, moving here, so back in Mauritius, like everyone try when they finish high school, they try to move out. So, my plan was to go to Europe, and then I tried to apply there a couple of times, but then my sister was like, bro, why not Canada, And I was like, why not? Let's just give it a try. It was like a normal thing. So I just came here.
And how long have you been here?
So I've been here around 11 months now, soon 1 year, and it's going pretty good, yeah.
Did you have any expectations or ideas of what Canada was going to be like before you came here?
So, I didn't know anything about this place. I went online, I've checked the school, and they actually play soccer at a very competitive stage, and I was like, why not? I've never seen the snow as well. I was like, that's a plus for me. So I was like, let's come here and see how life is.
Speaking of snow, what's the biggest difference you noticed right away in between Canada or Ottawa compared to your hometown?
So as you know, we are from East Africa. It's a tiny island, so no snow, none of those -10, minus degrees Celsius type stuff. Back in Mauritius, our average temperature in winter might drop down to 14, 13, and that's the max. Coming here, it was crazy. Winter was very crazy, but for me personally, I like cold weather. Yeah, I think it's because, but it's very biased because I'm from a tiny island, so I've been in the sun for the whole of my life. But moving here for the winter, I like the winter.
So, what were your first impressions of the people? Like, if you needed to ask for help or something like that?
So, for me personally, as I come from Mauritius, we speak English and French. And back in Mauritius, I went to a private school. So, my English is decent and I can communicate. And I think by myself and I'm very confident and I like to talk a lot. I like to waffle a lot. I like to talk. So, for me, it was pretty easily to ask for help. I don't feel nervous. I'm out there. I can talk to people. I like doing that. That's a part of me. It's good.
Is there ever a moment where you felt out of place? You would use a certain slang?
I mean, maybe not that, but when I said I'm from Mauritius, they're like, oh, what's that? So a lot of people doesn't know what Mauritius is, but I didn't feel out of place. The one thing when I felt out of place was when I moved here. So I'm on my third semester right now, and my first 2 semesters, it's I'll meet people one night, we'll play pool, and then the next day is they're gonna look at me like we didn't meet that day, And I felt left out. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
Have you experienced any sort of racism in Canada?
Okay, let's be honest here. Everyone knows about this, okay? It's out there, it's on TikTok, Insta, everyone can find videos. Okay, there's one thing here. Personally, I'm from Mauritius, and in Mauritius, we have a lot of cultures. And so what I'm Hindu, and I'm here personally, I feel there's a bit of racism out there for brown people, especially when if you're Hindu and Indian and stuff. But that's just me being that's honest. Everyone knows about it. So yeah, it's out there for sure.
Have you met other Mauritians in Canada?
Actually, I did quite a bit. But I think when Mauritian, some Mauritians I met here, when they come here, they change a lot, for sure. They're not themselves, for sure. Yeah.
Well, what about you? In what way do you feel you've changed since relocating here to Ottawa?
Oh my God, I've changed a lot. For my 2 first semesters, it was crazy. I got here first semester, didn't know anyone, left the family back home. It was crazy. No friends, nothing. Don't know anyone out here, and living alone is just different. And especially when you don't have friends, you don't have the mom, dad helping you out. it was very challenging. But actually, my roommate was the one that actually got me motivated in a way, and that changed me. He influenced me in like doing my work, focusing more on myself. Like I've grown a lot. Like I know how to cook. I can do my daily life. I can live alone now. But I've grown a lot. Like just like the way I think, the way that I'll do stuff.
So, as part of adjusting to life in Canada, what did you think about the food?
Oh yeah, sure. You know what? When I got here, I didn't know how to cook, and I came here. I did like a little surgery, so I was down weight. I came here with like 55 kg. Not in 1 month, I was up 10 plus kg, and it was crazy at the end of the day because the food is here. It's like it's good. I'm not saying it's bad. It's very good. Very appreciative food. I love the food, but I think it's very greasy and oily at the same time.
Now, as Canadians, we've seen the cost of living go up sharply over the last few years. So, what do you think of the cost of living for yourself?
Cost of living here, it's like it depends on you how you wanna do your type of living. There's different type of living. Some people wanna eat good food every day. If you're going to get groceries and make your own food, I think it will cost you less, bro. You will save so much money instead of Ubering every day. Because, for example, of me, when I just got here, the first few months I've spent so much money, it was outrageous on Uber because I didn't know how to cook. Because for my whole life, my mom was doing everything for me, and I've moved here. So I think the best idea for me, if there's new people coming in, like if you guys are gonna live in the like on the residence, you guys will have meal plan, but don't only focus on that meal plan. Try to go out there, buy groceries, and save up on that meal plan. Use that meal plan when you need to use it. When you're like, you finish class, at the end of the class, you're tired and you're like, I can't cook. So go use that meal plan. Treat yourself during the weekend. Yeah, that's one thing. But like one thing that you said in your question was the Canadian part, like Canadian way of living. Like me, international student, we pay tuition like crazy out here. I want people to hear this. It's a crazy amount. Like for me, per semester is like 10K. But yeah, it's a crazy amount. Like I did 3 semester this year since I did summer school as well. That was 30 bands. And like for Canadian to do it, it's like 9K. It's a big difference out here. Still, I decided to move to this place, fair enough, but I actually like this place. Yeah.
So, like, what advice would you give to someone else going through the same kind of transition as you?
For me, if someone is moving from a different country coming here, first thing I think, try to learn how to cook. That's first thing. Try to organize yourself and don't just sit in your room 24/7 and say I can't make friends. Or like, oh, there's a kind of racism here, or like, you want to play pool, like for example what I said earlier, I want to play pool and the next day the person just didn't even smile at me or didn't even look at me, like they don't know me. That felt very weird. But try to go out there. There's gonna be people out there trying to make friends, same as you, they're new to it. Go explore more, do more stuff. So go communicate with people, meet new people, talk a lot. So just believe in yourself, build your confidence as much as you can, and don't be scared. You don't need to be scared. If you talk to someone one day and the next day they're like, I don't know you, move on. There's more people out here. There's a lot of international students trying to make friends. Maybe they're shy, same as you are, but I think maybe you're like waiting for that person to make the conversation, but try to do it yourself. So many people come here with a background where English is not their first language. For example, says like me, my English is not my first language. Creole is our native language back in my country. But like, even if English is not your first language, try to small talks. Hi, what's your name? How are you? Good, nice. Eventually, while communicating and doing it, you guys will feel great. You guys can spend time around the campus. For me, it's just trying to make friends out here. You'll be great.
Well, thank you, Sanji. Those were great answers. And I hope your time here in Ottawa goes just as smoothly.
Thank you, guys. Hope you have a great day.
So, Matthew, after our conversation with Sanjay, what were your takeaways? Like, did anything surprise you?
Yeah, I thought something that really surprised me was the racism. I can't imagine leaving your hometown and going to a completely new place. For him, he came to Canada, having to deal with leaving family, leaving friends, leaving your whole life behind and starting a new life, getting a place to stay, dealing with all that. But then on top of it, you have racism from the people here in Canada. I just feel like that's another hurdle that he has to like overcome, and it's just unfair in my opinion.
Yeah, I really felt for him. I mean, I have experienced a little bit of racism now, very rarely, but in a very subtle way. But I do feel, personally speaking, I feel very much belonged in Canada compared to south of Canada, you know?
Was there anything that surprised you, Vasu?
So, you know, when he said something about when he speaks to someone, has a conversation with someone, meets someone, and then the next day the guy just carries on as if they never met. I relate to that. It's a very niche cultural aspect that I found as well, because in cultures like India and Mauritius, you know, there's a very strong social family fabric that's kind of integrated into the culture. Like you meet someone, they like freaking invite you for tea or coffee or something. So there's like a family feel, and over here it's a little bit more like individual feel, like everyone kind of fends for themselves. I don't know if I put it in the right words, but that's what I felt.
Nah, you definitely put it in the right words. But that concludes our episode for today. In our next episode, we will be discussing to people who have moved from a small town to a big city and vice versa. How was the transition and the experience?
And if you want more episodes like this, make sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned with the Shockingly Cultured podcast.
Until next time, stay cultured, whatever culture is in your heart. This is Matthew Grieve.
And this is Vasu Ravichandran.
Signing off.